as with most regulatory requirements, so many things come down to who's going to be responsible when something goes wrong and what are the penalties for getting something wrong. Here, this is one of many areas in which Congress, despite directing the Bureau to integrate the TILA and RESPA disclosures, did not make the decision about which statute should trump in terms of liability. And TILA and RESPA have very different liability. I won't read the slide to you, but the bottom line is that there's a private right of action for violation of the TILA disclosure requirements with significant penalties, and no private right of action for violations of the RESPA disclosure requirements for the GFE and the HUD-1. Now the CFPB, despite the lack of statutory private right of action where the individual borrower can go into court, the CFPB still has enforcement jurisdiction over both statutes and has the ability to impose significant penalties. So going to the next slide, the question is, well, if something on the disclosure is wrong or the disclosure is not provided within the prescribed time frame, then what are the penalties? Is it, TILA, can you be hauled into court? Or is it RESPA and you'd just be subject to enforcement by the CFPB? And the Bureau in the final rule did not provide a clear answer to this. Instead, it pushed the question back to the underlying statutory provisions and said that the Bureau doesn't have the authority to allocate penalties for private rights of action. That authority was not granted by Congress, and therefore you look to the statute. And then the Bureau said you look through the preamble to the regulation, you look to what the statutory authority was for the particular provision, and you allow that to guide you. Now, this is not a scientific answer. I have not reduced to a single document the authority for every single item in here, but thus far I am not aware of many items, if any, that are not in one way or another based on TILA authority. So until that kind of analysis is done, I think the safe assumption is that you are subject to a private right of action for all aspects of these rules.